Boy buys diapers daily, officer follows him and sees why. Officer Darius Jones, a seasoned member of the Oakland Police Department, embarked on an unexpected journey that challenged his perception of duty and compassion. He noticed a young boy's peculiar daily routine that led him into a web of secrets and dangers lurking in his community. This is the story of how Officer Jones, guided by empathy and determination, unveiled the truth behind the mystery of diapers. In his years of service, Officer Jones had witnessed the full spectrum of human experiences, but nothing could prepare him for what lay ahead. It all began when he observed a young boy, barely old enough to walk alone, who walked the same path every day in Oakland, carrying a backpack. Each day, the boy entered a convenience store and emerged with nothing but his backpack. This repetition piqued Officer Jones's curiosity. He was known for his observant nature, especially when it came to children, and this boy's determination and consistency intrigued him. He couldn't comprehend why a child would embark on the same daily route, departing from the typical school path to enter a convenience store. It was this curiosity that drove him to uncover the boy's secret. For days, Officer Jones discreetly observed the boy's actions, positioning himself inconspicuously, monitoring the store's entrance. Finally, the moment of truth arrived. Officer Jones watched as the boy entered the store, perused the aisles, and fixated on the baby care section. To his surprise, the boy reached for a package of diapers, leaving Officer Jones puzzled. Why was this young boy purchasing diapers daily? Who were they for? Was there something more sinister at play? Officer Jones needed answers. Approaching the cashier, he inquired about the boy who purchased the diapers daily. The cashier confirmed the routine, expressing concern about the boy's well-being and the situation at home. The boy seemed scared, and no one knew what was happening behind closed doors. Officer Jones was torn between immediate intervention and further investigation, but his instincts as a police officer and his compassion for the child pushed him to act. The boy appeared worried and afraid, walking alone every day. He decided to follow the boy discreetly to his destination. After a short walk, the boy arrived at a dilapidated house on the outskirts of the neighborhood. Officer Jones observed the boy entering, clutching the package of diapers against his small frame. His heart sank. He had stumbled upon something significant. Knocking on the door, Officer Jones was met by a weary woman in her late 30s named Emily, who had opened the door with a mix of surprise and exhaustion. Officer Jones introduced himself and explained his concern for the boy's well-being, prompting Emily to invite him in. Emily shared her heartbreaking story of being a single mother who had lost her job and was struggling to make ends meet. She also grappled with postnatal depression, and every day was a struggle for her. Her 8-year-old son, Daniel, had become her pillar of strength, helping around the house and even cooking for them. However, there were significant parts of the story that Emily omitted when speaking to Officer Jones. As the conversation unfolded, Officer Jones sensed that something was amiss. Emily's vulnerability and fear were apparent, and he knew there was a hidden truth. The officer recognized that something dark and sinister was at play, something he had never encountered in his career. Officer Jones left their home, determined to uncover the truth behind the family's struggles. As he reached his cruiser, he noticed small eyes watching him from a window. Daniel was peering out, his eyes filled with tears. It was clear that both Daniel and his mother were living in fear, suggesting that someone else was pulling the strings. Back at the police station, Officer Jones delved into the records surrounding the area and the house. He discovered a history of violence, crime, and tragedy associated with the house. It had seen everything from murders and drug deals to hostage situations and shootouts. It was a place that had earned a reputation of being cursed, each family living there enduring their own form of disaster. Officer Jones couldn't dismiss the possibility that this house was strategically placed as an outpost for criminal activities, given its unique position and history. But his encounter with Emily and Daniel revealed that there was more to the story. Emily's reluctance to share the whole truth and Daniel's fear indicated that something dangerous lurked in the background. The following day, Officer Jones returned to the house, hoping to speak with Daniel and Emily once again. He needed to understand the threat they faced and how he could help. However, upon arriving, he discovered that the situation had escalated. A menacing man had confronted Emily, and tension hung in the air. The man's arrival intensified the already precarious situation. Emily explained that he was a local gang boss who extorted protection money from her, and the man had beaten her when he discovered she had spoken to Officer Jones. Officer Jones found himself in a delicate predicament. He wanted to help Emily and Daniel, but he also needed to handle the criminal elements involved. The man's control over the family was evident, and Officer Jones feared for their safety. As tensions escalated, Officer Hernandez, Officer Jones's partner, arrived at the scene. Together, they tried to defuse the situation, but the man's presence loomed over them. He warned Officer Jones to stay out of their affairs and continued to exert his influence over Emily and Daniel. Ultimately, Officer Jones and Officer Hernandez had to leave, fearing for the safety of Emily and her children. However, they couldn't simply abandon the family to the man's control. Officer Jones was committed to helping them and uncovering the truth. The following day, Officer Jones returned to Emily and Daniel's home. Emily tearfully revealed the extent of their ordeal, explaining that the man had been extorting protection money from her and had resorted to violence when she couldn't pay. The safety of her youngest child, Lily, who required a constant supply of diapers due to a medical condition, was also at stake. Daniel had been helping by purchasing diapers daily. Officer Jones realized the gravity of the situation. Poverty, mental health issues, domestic violence, and extortion had intertwined to create a dire circumstance for Emily and her children. Determined to help, he began exploring avenues of support involving local charities, social services, and community organizations. As the community learned of Emily's plight, they rallied together, organizing fundraisers and providing emotional support. Officer Jones worked with his colleagues to bring the criminals responsible for extorting families to justice, removing the threat from the community. With the threat eliminated, Emily and her family could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Emily sought therapy for her depression, and they began to rebuild their lives. Daniel returned to school, and Emily found employment, enabling them to address their basic needs and look toward a brighter future. Officer Jones's commitment extended beyond enforcing the law. He became a catalyst for positive change in his community. He checked in on Emily and her children regularly, ensuring their well-being. He was determined to provide Daniel with a positive role model and help him return to school. The story of Officer Darius Jones serves as a testament to the resilience of individuals and communities, as well as the transformative power of compassion and dedication to justice.